This is Zelda Duelist Yugioh with their Back to Basics Pure DM Profile version 1.0. Pokemon trading card game, by the way. Alright, let's go.
What is up, YouTube? These are Lawless. It's back at you with my Pure Dark Magician list. And also, because I know you'll be seeing this, hello Loza, how you doing?
Hey man, I'm good.
So I thought I'd go back to my roots with this one. The first ever deck I built back, it was last year, the year before, thanks to my...
I gotta stop you there because you're playing the worst DM art. At least it's ulti, right? But man, the potato art, whew, I'm not a fan. The actual pose, the Dark Magician's doing kind of goes hard. But the potato behind him does not. Anyway.
A friend who gave me the core, basically, was Dark Magician. Well, I say core, there was no souls, but obviously he was like 14, I was about 15. It was Dark Magician. And I'm going to go back to my roots for this. This is a deck I have been quite happy to play. And I've actually had some wins with this on the DV ladder. I thought I'd share it. There is some copium picks in here, I will say that now.
Okay.
And this isn't optimal. For example, I'll say this now. 1 Mission Souls, 1 Soul Servant. It should be 3 and 3. You'll see.
Oh, okay. Is it just like a you don't own them thing? Because then it's like if money is an issue or like availability is an issue, then it's like, well, you know, we can't do much about that. As long as you're like, yeah, this should be 3 and 3, but I can't afford it, or like I can't get them yet. It's like, okay, well, understandable. You know, you can't fault someone on that.
Why? Soul Servant especially, and I'll talk about that when we get...
Oh, it's cool if you got given the Dark Magician like that. It's pretty cool then if it's given to you. You know, it's got some value, some special sentimental value
to it. But, starting off with the main deck. In terms of the actual bricks, and these are just bricks, I'm going to try and get Dark Magician to no longer be a brick, but I'll talk about how I'm trying to do that later.
The only way for this to never be a brick again is for them to make a Link 1 for DM that can use DM, DMG, and or Palladium monsters in the hand. I don't think they'll do that, but that would make this not a brick in the hand, or any of them really bricks in the hand. But in saying that, it's probably still just better if you could normal Rod and make a Link with that. But that would be a nifty way to make the vanilla playable, you know what I mean? I know Blue Eyes and DM are always going to be, you got to play the vanilla, you got to play the vanilla. Okay, but that's arse in 2024. So the only viable way I can see going into the future of playing DM is a Link 1 that just uses both vanillas. Like, one Dark Magician, and you can just do it, you know? Or like, it can be as specific as you want. It can be like a card that's original name is Dark Magician, you know? Or fuse like the Yubel Fusion Monster. Yeah. Or like that. Rod should just have a better search. Well, that is also an option. Rod should have a better search. But at the end of the day, like, this card doesn't do anything. Which makes no sense. Like, this card should do stuff. I understand it's a vanilla, but like, by today's standard, there should be enough support for this deck where hard drawing this isn't such a bad thing. Like, there's people who are like, well, hard drawing this with secrets is really good. No, it's not good. It's still really bad. But, yeah, a Link 1 is the best thing I can think of that uses your hand, but only strictly uses Dark Magician. Well, it can use Rod as well on field, but, like, I don't know. It'd be hard to balance it, but... Anyway, let's move on, because we're discussing something Konami's probably never going to do.
2 DM, 1 Red Eyes,
Nice.
and 1 DMG.
Okay.
These are obviously mandatory. It's a Dark Magician that you've got to play Dark Magician. And because of Red Eyes Fusion, you've got to play Dragoon.
Yeah.
And some Red Eyes by Dragon. DMG, in theory, you could play a second one of those instead of it. I personally like it for Soul Servant. And another card in this deck I'll talk about in a minute.
I tell you what, the second brick hit hard when Anaconda was legal, because you always set up your grave, or if you didn't get hand trapped, you set up your grave for the draw 2 turn 1. So Rod every game, Rod searched Soul Servant, Soul summoned itself, sent the Soul Servant for 1 draw. You made Anaconda, Dragoon, you now have DM and DMG, or DM and a second other brick. Doesn't matter which one you play, whether it's DMG, Mana, Mahad. You have 2 bricks in grave, and you've drawn 1. You now banish Soul Servant, you draw 2 more. You were summoning Dragoon and drawing 3. Oh my god. We didn't know how good we had it. Because now that shit is gone. That was peak DM. That was peak DM. Give us Link 2 for DM deck that does what Anaconda did. Black Wolf in the chat also has mentioned DM needs an engage. If you read Soul Servant, it's so close to being engage. When Soul Servant got announced, I actually said in my group chat, DM engage. It kind of is. It's pretty close. But I agree, we need something that's good without DM or anything. Like, a starter. We need a starter spell. And we just don't have that. Which is crazy in a spellcaster freaking deck. Sorry, I feel like I'm wasting a lot of time at the start of this, but there's just so many thoughts that go through my head, and the chat is also bringing up some great points. This will probably be the nature of this profile. We're probably going to be taking our time. But in saying that, if you'd like to play DMG, you can. I play second Red Eyes because it enables ref. I think back in the days of Anaconda, a lineup like this was great. I do think it's a lot worse now, however. But ultimately, like, we're going to play bricks anyway, aren't we? But let's move on.
Yeah. Because a big game plan I've seen with Dark Magician, it's like using the DS7, getting Winder alongside and Secret Village. I don't have Winder, quite frankly. I don't really fancy playing it. And my Secret Village has gone missing. I think I might have lent it to a friend and they've just not returned it or something. But until it arrives, or I find it, with no Secret Village here. So what is the win con, which I don't know, come up with? Obviously you got the DM triangle, which I just came up now. But this comes into it because Soul Servant. It'll help me draw into my non-engine of the deck.
Oh.
Which is mostly just hand traps.
Okay.
You mean, so I want 3 Soul Servant. If I can go +2, or in this deck, +3 potentially. We'll talk about that later. And draw, say, Ash Vela or Ash Imperm. That's going to be massive. But yeah, that's why DMG is here. You cannot play her, but I do have another reason why I'm playing her, which I'll talk about in one moment. The pseudo-bricks, you have the Timaeus, because you got to play it. I mean, I think in some cases you don't have to, but in this one I like having it, because it's just a body that gets himself on board. In theory, I could send off away cards I don't really need, including a card I'll talk about later, to then summon it as an extender, so I can then go further into my like link climbing, say an access code with Timaeus at my availability. I also have one Apprentice Illusion Magician. It's the best search of Illusion of Chaos when you've already done ref. It's a pseudo brick again in that aspect, but what I'm trying to get DM to work eventually is to be more of a combo deck than ref go burr, because it has potential with it, and with its graveyard effects of some of the cards it has, it generally could be a terrifying force if we can get it to work right, which is what I'm trying to lab out at the moment. And then the final pseudo brick, the one I'm really playing DMG for, Mana. I love playing Miracle Mana. This is honestly the best card I've had that helped me win going second.
Well, in saying that, Mana was the second brick I mentioned earlier in the Anaconda scenario. I often would Magician Soul send Mana. Normal summon Rod, search Soul Servant, send it for draws. If opponent hand trapped, I can summon Mana. Now I've got 3 bodies. Make Anaconda, make Artemis, Anaconda effect. Try to resolve, hopefully they've wasted their imperm on my draw, and then Soul Servant, draw 2 hopefully. I think Mana is pretty damn good. It's probably the best brick, because DMG doesn't do anything. Gains attack, wow. Mahad is interesting sometimes. Can be good randomly, but it's bricky. I mean, they're all bricky, but yeah. Mahad more so just sits in your hand. Kind of like DMG though. Mana is always the better of the bricks. And it's not in Master Duel, which sucks. Definitely the better of the bricks is Mana. What a good card. Well, I say that because I'm comparing it to cards that are essentially blank. But, yeah. Timaeus and Apprentice at 1 are good. Like, they're the ratios you would play those cards at. And you mentioned you play Apprentice. I don't know if you meant because you play Apprentice and Timaeus or just Apprentice. You mentioned you want to play the deck as like DM combo deck. The thing is, to be a combo deck, your minimum requirement is that your deck has a circular. If you don't have a Mathmech circular in your archetype, and Magician Souls is nearly that, but circular is even better. if you don't have a circular type card, you can't really be a combo deck. If all of your cards don't special themselves for free, like in Cyberse, you kind of can't combo. Like, Apprentice needs a discard. That is huge. And yeah, a lot of people say, oh, well, she replenishes it by adding. She adds a vanilla, guys. Like, it's not like she's adding a playable card. She's adding a blank slate to your hand. A literal blank card, essentially. So, the dilemma in DM is Apprentice's best discard is one of the other bricks. And then you search another brick. Have you gone even in card advantage? Yes. Do you have a playable card in your hand? No. So it's interesting. Because Apprentice does have scenarios where she's quite good. She's good at protecting Dragoon as the hand trap effect. She can be good as an extender if you've got, you know, the bricks in your hand and you've got Soul Servant. Then she's suddenly a lot better, right? But she still just is in an awkward spot where she's kind of just too old now for the current format. I do play 1 sometimes. But back in the day, we used to play 3 because she was considered good, right? She's just kind of not good anymore. I think DM may need an additional small engine for it to work. Maybe Toy Box or something else. I think DM needs, yeah, its own Toy Box-like spell. Or Engage. Or a Sprite Starter. It needs a card that is a spell that starts our plays. The same way other good spells do. The same way a card like Branded Fusion does. The same way a card like Nadir's Servant does. Probably without locking us out of the extract. But just an example. Spells that get the job done. Spells that your opponent goes, oh hell, I might want to hand trap this, you know? That's what we need. Because in DM right now, people don't even know what to hand trap because there's nothing good to hand trap. They normally save it for ref. I go to locals and I start normaling Rod and specialing Souls, and my opponent holds their Ash because they're waiting for ref. Like, they don't know that I can't. Well, some of them anyway. But the point is, deck needs that scary ref-like card for people to hold their hand trap for. So then we can try to manipulate our plays around that. But anyway, let's see what else you're playing.
Without ref, obviously. Because if I go normal Magician's Rod and they go Chain Veiler, Chain Mana, you summon it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's negating sure, but now you got 2 bodies. That could then equal, say,
IP?
My extra deck.
The Rabbit?
A Dark. That could be a Nightmare Phoenix.
Well, yeah, going second, they're good options. But there's not a lot of good going first rank 2s now. Link 2s. The best options would probably be the Rabbit, Silver Hat Rabbit, or whatever it's called. And, whatchamacallit? I just said it before. IP to go into SP.
Forces interruptions. You can send it off Magician's Souls and you don't have to summon. It's a Palladium monster, so it lets you draw off Soul Servant with it. And when it's destroyed, it goes into DMG. Obviously, that's why I'm playing DMG. You cannot play DMG. I mean, that effect doesn't always come up, but I do like it. It is so good from the crackback to just out-summon your opponent and what they're doing. And that's it for the pseudo-bricks. I mean, I don't really count this as a brick, but I think in most instances it probably is. You don't want to see it in your hand.
Yeah.
You want to send off Magician's Souls, typically. In terms of the other... these are the actual good monsters in DM. We have 3 copies of Illusion of Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it gets you where you need to go. It gives you access to your Magician's Souls. Should be a 3-off. I mentioned this earlier. I only own the 1 right now. Should be more coming in eventually. This is a progressive deck. And 2's Rod. Yeah, this gets you access to everything you need, pretty much. This is amazing. If you have this in hand, say you have Illusion, you've done Ref, you have Soul Servant you can use. Or you got DM Engrave, you can go activate Soul Magician, use this, search this. Effect, send mana.
Yep.
Send Souls. You don't have to summon.
That's right.
Optional. And obviously you have Ref on board. You go Soul Servant stacks a Dark Magic Circle or Salvation, depending on the hand. And then you just draw 2. So yeah, that card you stacked plus something else. It's very good.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people still don't know that. You can still ref and then Magician's Soul send like a second brick. So then you might think, well, why would I want to do that? Well, if you have Soul Servant, it's pretty good, because then you can go get an additional card. And help you make that DM triangle, hopefully. Sadly, that's the other thing. The deck doesn't have a lot to go for, other than the DM triangle, which is pretty dated now. So maybe if we even got a new main deck strategy, that could be nice. I'm open to it. I still love Circle Eternal Soul as a deck concept. Just looping DM or Dragon Knight is great. I would love to do that all day, but we can't even do that consistently. So either help us do that more consistently with new support, or give us a new deck plan. I'm down for either.
And obviously, if you don't have Ref, you can summon it to draw it through your cards you don't need. So you have multiple cross-out designator, you can just remove one of them, get an extra card. Which could be a hand trap, it could be engine. And 2 Rod, it's the best normal summon in DM. It also doesn't do anything by itself. You go normal Rod, you say you search Circle, okay? Circle, you add Eternal Soul, okay, there's no DM though. You Rod, you add Magician's Salvation, same thing. Eternal Soul. You add Soul Servant, doesn't do anything. Secrets, doesn't do anything. By itself, it does nothing. Paired with literally anything else, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But it does need to be paired, and that's the big thing. That's it for the DM monsters. In terms of the spells, you have the best spell in the deck. Ref.
Let's go!
I mean, once I can figure out how this works, it's a combo deck, you can cut this. But until then, you gotta play Ref. You should also win Red Eyes Insight, I'll say this now. I'm not spending £8 on it. I found one on a trading group. And I went, hey, can I trade for it? Yeah, the card's worth £8 for one.
Yeah, why is it so much?
And I literally went, I'm good, thanks. But yeah, you should be playing 3 Insight alongside this. It is your best card. Alongside Pot of Prosperity, which I do not own as well. But again, it's progressing. And I think without it, I've managed to fit in more non-engine. So I can just... If I can't play, the opponent's not playing.
The thing is, Pot of Prosperity locks you out of drawing.
In terms of DM stuff, yourself.
Oh, oops.
Circle.
Pause. Pot of Prosperity locks you out of drawing off Soul Servant, which you clearly want to do in this build. Like, you've got a lot of ways to... You've got a lot of bricks to put to the grave and draw. So you probably don't want Pot. Yeah, Inside is $7, $8. This is US dollars, by the way. So let me put this in Loza money. The cheaper one's what, $7.50? $11. Yeah, okay, $11 in Inside. I don't know what I paid for mine, but it wasn't that. I couldn't tell you what I paid for my Insides, but I'm pretty sure I paid like 30 cents. So that's a bit of a difference to what they are now. I bought them at a time where they were just not played, so it was kind of fine. Or maybe they're like $5, but they definitely weren't that much. Soul Servant's still expensive? Really? Is the Secret cheaper? Let me just check the Secret, because I want to pick up the Secret. I still haven't picked up the Secrets. Soul Servant, TCG player. I have the original Soul Servants from their original printing, where I think they're Super or Ultra. Where's... They have another printing, why... They have 3? No, just 2 printings. So the Secret Rare is slightly more expensive. Being $12. Which in Australian will probably go up another couple. It'll be like $16 or $17. Or maybe more, maybe even around the 20 mark. Yeah. Inside's expensive because they're old. Well, yeah, maybe it needs a reprint then. I don't mind this card being kind of up there. It is quite a good card. It probably shouldn't be that high, though. I don't know. It could definitely reprint Soul Servant. Well, Blue Eyes got a structure. There's still a chance we and Red Eyes may get one too. That'd be nice. Anyway, let's watch more.
And Salvation plus Soul for the DM trio.
Nice.
Salvation's also quite nice. You can then... I like Salvation. I've never not played this deck without Salvation, because if you have Souls, that's a free draw. If you have Salvation, set Soul, Eternal Soul, summon Magician Soul, send DM to grave. Magician Souls, you can just send Salvation, free draw. If you have Timaeus, I should put this away, didn't I? Yes. You do the same thing, send this to grave, summon this, and then you can fuse. Or you can just link it off your own second to say, with another monster.
It's very true, but imagine if Salvation did more. Imagine if Salvation would activate Eternal Soul. Oh, so much better. We could do so much with it, but yeah, you're right. The card's main purpose is being sent for a draw or sent to summon Timaeus. It's kind of depressing.
I do love having it. Similarly, Soul Servant. This should be at 3 because, again, with the Palladium Oracle mana and with all the other cards, you want to use it to draw into your engine. It is some aspects where I feel like I don't want to see it solely by itself. I want it to be engraved. And that will link up nicely with another card we're also playing, and of course the one secret you have to. Put this there because I'm talking about this and the other options now. Now, Dark Magician, he's a wizard, he's a spellcaster, but he doesn't do anything. That's my big issue with this deck.
It's true.
The main guy himself doesn't do anything. I love Soul Servant. As a card, it makes Dark Magician as a body do something that isn't just make Dragoon. So I'm pairing it with 2 cards. One, it's Foolish Burial Goods. Again, you can dump Soul Servant to grave, so you can then draw more cards. But also, combination. That's not combination, it's navigation. That's it. This card has genuinely won me so many games. Because I've had hands where I had Ref, Foolish, plus Salvation. Salvation set Soul, Foolish send Navigation, Ref make Dragoon. Or Dragoon negates something, obviously summon Dark Magician at some point. They'll go Talents to take, Navigation negate.
That's pretty good.
And it doesn't just work on that. If they have Branded Lost on the field, you can go Brand Lost, sure. Brand Infusion, Chain Dragoon. Reread that. I think I read this right. Yeah, then you go Chain Navigation, target Brand Lost, negates Lost, so they don't get that. Brand Infusion isn't protected, and then that Lost is no longer alive for the rest of that turn, meaning the matchup becomes a lot easier to interrupt them. Yeah, I do think this is a very nice card to have. It might be...
The biggest dilemma is then, like, you hard open Navi and you're like, shit, now what? I like Navi's negate engrave because, one, people forget about it. People forget about it a lot. Well, yes, Black Wolf, you do... Oh, sorry, not Black Wolf. Royal Games. You do need DM for Navi to work. But here's the thing. A lot of ref hands, you have Soul Servant or you just draw Eternal Soul of Salvation, right? The main card you find in this deck is Eternal Soul. You really find it more than Circle. And if you do find Circle, there's a chance to find Eternal Soul. The thing is, because you've refed and sent DM to grave, you normally can then use your Soul Servant to get your Eternal Soul. Then from there, if you do have the Foolish Burial, you can send the Navi. And, well, then on your opponent's turn, yeah, after he said, as Dragoon's negated, you can Eternal Soul summon DM, and then you can Navi at some point, and it's quite good. It's quite... I haven't thought about doing it with Dragoon up, and that's quite smart, because yes, your opponent's going to hit you with the Tactics to Steal, or the Droplet. You know, even Droplet. Not many people send a trap off Droplet. Even if they went for Droplet after you negate, you could easily just be like, alright, Chain Navi. If they don't have the trap, there's nothing they can do, or if they don't send a trap. What's also interesting is, I think Navi, for the future of the deck, will be a better card. Because I think in future we may even get a card similar to Ref, not necessarily in power, but in the effect. The monster you summoned off this fusion summon is named Red Eyes Black Dragon. I think we'll get something like that for Dark Magician, where the fusion we summon becomes Dark Magician. So, that's kind of huge. Navi would definitely probably have a resurface then. Or at least, maybe it's a niche one-off that we can play. It also depends if we get more cards that mill. If we get more cards that can mill from deck, well, Navi becomes a fantastic target for future, combos, really. Being able to set up a spell trap negate is nothing to be laughed at. And it's also a niche way to do it. Like, it's a card that's in the grave that your opponent's probably going to forget about because there's a bunch of other cards piled up in the grave. And they're worrying about the guys you got on field. So it's a good one because they forget it. It's not in their face on the field. I like that about it. It's a bit scummy, but that's how it is at a tournament, right? When you're at a serious tournament, your opponent might forget you've got that Navi engrave, and it's quite good. Definitely better than just having a Judgment set. Well, probably not. Judgment's really good. But you know what I mean? Like, in terms of forgetfulness and playing around it. So, yeah. I don't know. But Navi, once again, comes down to that. It's a card you don't want to draw. So, I don't know. But yeah, I think Navi could be better later. We'll see. We'll see. It depends what Navi can summon as well. Yeah, I've definitely won games off Navi Engrave. It hasn't been for a while, but I know the feeling. Like, Navi is such a surprisingly decent card. I wouldn't say it's good or great, but I'd say it's got some merit. It's got a bit of a wow factor to it when your opponent, you know, goes, oh, you got vanilla on board, like, oh, I'm just going to do my combo, and you're like, oh, I'll go Navi, banish, negate, like, your crack spell. They're like, huh? What? And you're like, yeah. Negate spell trap, I have vanilla. You can send it off Apprentice or Magician Souls. I mean, yes, you can. The problem, I always have this problem where you summon Souls to send Navi to draw, to set up Souls. But then you summon Souls so you don't have DM on field. It's a bit awkward. Like, obviously you can have Eternal Soul summon DM, but it's just a bit clunky. But that's just how the deck is, right? We all know that. So maybe if there's a way to make this better later, that'd be great. But for now, I don't think running Navi's amazing. I think this is a cool tech though. But yeah, let's watch some more.
Me just being like some massive copium, but I do think this should be very good in DM as a whole.
I might try it.
Make Dark Magician do something. Non-engine. Okay, so I chose to take the Snake Eye approach of just ram as many hand traps into the deck as possible. Because this deck loses to so many hand traps. But then how do we counteract that? Well, you play Call By, obviously, and you play Crossout at 3, because I want to see this card in as many hands as humanly possible. And I got that. Okay, so I want to counter hand traps. What hand traps do I really suffer with? Ash. Impum. Feeler. Okay, what other niche ones am I going to suffer with? In hand without ref, that's Nib. Ogre on Eternal Soul. And I've also got one Magmut, one Truism to counteract the Fiendsmith stuff.
One thing that you really got to have this format is Droll. Every Dark Magician card loses to Droll, and every cunt is playing, I shouldn't have sworn, but every guy is playing Droll. Why? Because Fiendsmith Engine. You Droll the Fiendsmith Engine normally. So, Droll being so meta relevant because of Fiendsmith hurts us for no reason. We just get caught in the crossfire. So, Rod searches. Circle potentially searches. Normally whips, but it can. Soul Servant draws. Apprentice searches. Magician Souls can send cards for draws. You see what I'm saying? Preparation, Illusion of Chaos. Both search. Every card in the archetype loses to Droll. So, definitely put that in there. I wouldn't say you need 3. If it's a cross-out target, you can get away with 1. 2's safe, but 1 you can get away with. But yeah. I would probably go down on 1 Veiler or 2 Veiler. It's good. Imperm's just pretty much better most of the time. But having it as cross-out target is understandable. But you could also even just play 1 Nibiru, 1 Ghost Ogre. It sounds dumb, but like you're mainly going to be playing them for cross-out targets anyway. And these hand traps that are once per turn, let them be once per turn. It's kind of fine. Whoa, hand traps, not even pure DM. That's like every comment on my profiles. It's amazing. But yeah, look, I will say a thing that I constantly say about DM and hand traps. The reason why hand traps are good is because in the current format, if you don't play hand traps, you die. There is a Gimmick Puppet FTK that will just kill you if you don't interact with their board on their turn. So you can't just play Floodgates, okay? People say, oh, just play Floodgates. Floodgates are great with DM because hand traps are bad with DM. We'll get to that in a bit. But you can't just play Floodgates because you will die to the FTK deck. Like, you have to open an interaction. So this lineup's good. This lineup, with this many hand traps, and especially the Bestials, because all of Gimmick Puppet are dark, you will make sure you don't die to the Gimmick Puppet deck. Great. That's really good. That's one thing this format you have to be looking out for. Another thing, you have to play Droll for the Fiendsmith matchup, and you have to have Droll for the crossout designated target. So that's another thing to consider. There's also Tenpai Dragon. Hand traps don't work against them. All their stuff's in the battle phase, and they skip main phase 1, which turns off Veiler, it turns off Droll, it turns off a lot of things. It turns off Nibiru, at least till main phase 2. So, pretty much you die to Tenpai with this many hand traps. You die to Gimmick Puppet with no hand traps. You kind of need some hand traps for your Bell Fiendsmith, because once again, Fiendsmith. You kind of need hand traps for Snake Eyes, I mean. You need hand traps for Snake Eyes Fiendsmith, because otherwise you just die. So you're forced to play hand traps this format, but then there's the matchup against Tenpai where they're all kind of arse. So, that's a dilemma in itself. That's a format dilemma. Another dilemma is Dark Magician with hand traps. Now, I mentioned before, DM's good with floodgates, bad with hand traps. Why is that? Because Dark Magician inherently needs like 2 to 3 cards to get going on its own engine. You just don't have the room to be playing, you know, all these hand traps. Because you can open one DM card and all these hand traps. Guess what you're doing? Normaling, Rod, adding Soul Servant, setting it, passing. Because unlike other decks, Dark Magician doesn't pop up with just 1 card and 4 hand traps. In any other deck, in Snake Eyes, if you open Snake Eyes Ash, and 4 hand traps, you'd be chilling. You'd be like, oh, this is a good hand. In Dark Magician, you open Rod and 4 hand traps, you go, well, I'm doing nothing. So that's a bit of the dilemma about this deck. And another dilemma is playing the crossouts and call buys. Naturally, you want to resolve your cards, and you get sick of them getting hand traps. So you go, well, I play the cards that stop that. Now what's going to happen is you're going to normal your Rod, you're going to special your Souls, and you're going to have your crossout and call buy in your hand, and you're going to be able to do nothing, because the DM combo doesn't get very far. Then it goes to your opponent's turn, and they're going to hit you with board breakers, and all your hand traps are kind of just... all your call buys and crossouts are sitting in your hand, and they're doing nothing. Or you've set them, and you've been evenly matched, and it doesn't matter. It can feel really aggravating. It feels like there's just not a good way to play DM. You play with floodgates, which is better in theory, you lose to certain things in the format. If you play with hand traps, they're not quite as impactful as some of those floodgates, like Skill Drain, so you lose to just decks that can make better trades. If you're going Ash on your opponent's best card and they're Ashing your best card, you're losing, because they're playing a better deck than you. And their cards are going to be better. They're going to have more extenders. They're going to have better extenders, cheaper extenders that don't need a discard or a send like Timaeus and Apprentice. So, DM just naturally isn't a very, what's the word? It's not good at card advantage. Not good at playing the long game. It's just not good at exchanging card for card. And hand traps are a 1-for-1 exchange most of the time. Most of the time. So yeah, it can be quite bad. But in saying that, in the format, you have to play hand traps. Snake Eyes, Ash, Fiendsmith, Yubel, and Gimmick Puppet FTK, you need to be playing hand traps. If you're not playing hand traps, you are not playing the game. So, the problem is you hand trap Snake Eyes twice, and they still kind of make the same board sometimes. And there's nothing you can do about that. So, anyway, that is all I'm going to say about all that. That was a lot, but that's the format. Anyone who's playing the current format, let me know if you agree or disagree. That's how it feels. So, yeah, quite annoying.
So if you want to do the maths here, that's 3, 6, 9.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14,
12,
15.
15 hand traps in this deck. You are going to see at least one in nearly every hand. I went to locals last night, and I went X without ref, by the way. This is out ref because of the hand traps. I went X 2 out of 4 rounds because I just kept hand trapping them until they couldn't play.
Not bad.
And I could then slowly build up some form of a board. When I next go to locals, I might mention how.
But yeah, like same argument though. If you're continuously hand trapping them, this is what a meta deck would play, by the way. Like the same number of, probably not exactly these hand traps, but they play the same number of hand traps. A meta deck is able to do the same, just hand trap you back and forth, or yeah, just hand trap you over and over, while they also slowly build up their board. But their board is normally better, and their starters and extenders are normally better. They normally only need 1 card to get going. DM's still going to need 2, minimum 3 sometimes. So, but That's not your fault. That is just how the deck is. So, yeah, I think this is good. What you have here is good. I would just say change some of these cards, as I mentioned earlier. Droll needs to be in here for the format. That's probably the biggest change.
How this deck does, because I feel like it can do surprisingly well, because hand traps plus ref, they don't get to play. Because if you use your monster hand traps first, they want to talent you. They can't wait for ref to be done. By that point, it might be too late, and they'll have to have talent to draw at some point, and you go ref negate that. It's very great to have. I love this many hand traps in Dark Magician. So it means that if we can't play, they can't play either. And that's it for the main. So, this is sections here. This is in sections of. You have good. I guess it comes up, and I just needed to fill space. We'll start off with the good.
What's this?
These are the good cards you have in terms of fusions. 2 Dragoon and a Master of Chaos. Obviously, Dragoon's the best card in the deck. Master of Chaos, it's nice. I've had instances when testing on DB where I've made Dragoon with Ref, set secrets with Eternal Soul Past, negate something, and then I fused away my Dragoon and Dark Magician to make another, because when you fuse Dragoon with Ref, it becomes Red Eyes Bat Dragon, which it specifies on Dragoon.
Yep.
And thus, I have made Dragoon more times than I want to count with itself. It's very good. And Master Chaos,
I have done this with secrets.
It is the best card ever. Just to wipe their board, and if you got Dragoon on there, you basically win because you've made them restart their entire setup. And it also helps with extension.
It's funny, Master of Chaos's best use is summoning back Dragoon. Goated.
In terms of the good links, we have 1 Artemis, 1 Link Spider, 1 Dark, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Unicorn, and 1 Access Code. Where's Selene, you ask?
Yes!
I can't find one anywhere. It's
F.
really annoying. But I'm trying to find one to get my hands on it and just, make access code, Dark Access Code, Dark Selene Access Code the most consistent thing in the world. But these all work perfectly fine. Again, the deck's not amazing with combat anyway. But, going second, I mentioned Magician's Rod plus mana if they target it is a Dark, which usually also equals Unicorn. You just need to have, 1 extra body to go Access Code.
Honestly, it sounds like not a lot, but the Selene makes a massive difference. Because, yeah, as you said, you just need 1 extra body. DM doesn't really get extra bodies, let's be real. I know you're playing some cards that do that, like Apprentice, Timaeus, Mana potentially, but it just doesn't happen enough. Plus, you want to use those bodies alongside your access code to OTK most of the time, right? Timaeus and access code is game on an open board state. Because Timaeus, access code goes to 5-3, and Timaeus is 2-8. That's game. So just keep that in mind. Yes, it just seems, it's just 1 card. 1 card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a lot. But I'm sure you're trying to get Selene anyway. It's not really an issue. If you're not playing it, you can't get it. So that's all good. I'm just saying. You should try and get it. It's really good.
And even then, Unicorn's not a bad interruption.
Also, it can revive Dragoon, which is crazy.
By any means, by any state of the matter.
Oh, it can also, you can activate Circle. You can activate Circle. I didn't find Eternal Soul. I'll just make Selene. And you can just go Selene, summon Dark Magician. It's a quick effect, guys. On your opponent's turn, as long as you've got the counters, quick effect, summon Dark Magician, Circle Banisher on your opponent's turn. It can kind of be your Eternal Soul if it has to be. That doesn't come up often, but it can. Pardon me.
Moving on to it can come up, I guess, extra slots. We got, that's the bad ones, here.
I'm back. Oh, Secrets is there? Oh, sorry. I completely forgot. Okay, let's keep going.
10 games, because I needed just an extra name. I needed to summon something to get Soul Circle to proc, so I went to Lab, so I summoned this. It was alright. I don't think anything else other than that. It was just alright, I guess. And Psychic and Punisher. Now, this one actually, it comes up more than that. I think I might just say this is a good card, because it makes Timaeus worth it. Because it makes Timaeus plus, say, Ash. Oh my god. So, Timaeus and Ash. That's 11. That's Pep. Yeah, if you have, say, Vader instead of an Ash, you need to get to a 10. You get Vader plus, maybe not Timaeus, but if you have, I don't know, Rod, DM, or that's Pep. It's only other tuners in here. Yeah, same Ogre plus twice again. Which is any addition to that. It is so handy to just have at my disposal because then, or even DM Souls, Ogre or Ash, makes Pep, and then typically if you're already losing, say turn 3, you make this, you just can just smack them so hard they don't win. It comes up. It does come up. And I do like it for that reason. I'll play it for a while until I get something better, but until then, this is my kind of spicy tech. And then we got,
The problem with that is you're like using a hand trap to do it, so it's like, 1, you're not normaling Rod, and 2, like you had a disruption in your hand, and you give it up for a disruption, it's kind of like the same. It depends. Making like Baron de Fleur is good. What is that card called again? Psychic End Punisher? Is this card worth it? Yeah, Chaos Angel is very good. You can just play that, but that's very expensive. It's getting a reprint, though. This was it, right? Level 11? Wait. Wait, you can only make this off Timaeus, then. Timaeus and a hand trap. That's it. Wait, LP or less? Cards unaffected. Once per turn, pay 1,000. Target a card you control and a card your opponent controls. Banish them. A lot of battle phase make this gain attack. Yeah, you could still kill people with it. I mean, it's not bad. I've definitely seen worse cards in DM. Yeah, it's alright. I thought it would have like a negate though.
needed to fill space, going from worst to best. Sorry, best to worst. Zealantis, Ebon High, Pit Knight Early, and the single.
What the hell is that? Pit Knight Early. What the crap? 2 effect monsters. When a monster this card points to activates its effect, quick effect. Target an effect monster opponent controls till the end of the turn, change it to 0 and negates effects. During end phase, this card's in the grave, because destroyed by battle or card effect, sent there this turn. You can special this card. Right. Okay then. Random.
The worst card in this extra deck, by far. Kotalker. Very.
Yeah, wait, what? What is that? Oh. I should probably specify Yugioh. Can you make this card? Okay, this could be pretty... These two feel like they could be pretty much anything else in the world, but hey. The Nightmare cards are good additions. Nightmare's always good, but I know you're already playing them.
It's basically here, I just wanted to make room in my extra and fill the extra space up, and these were the ones that, out of all of my extra cards I had left, these are the ones I could actually realistically summon. World Sea, it's used to whiteboards. It can actually be good into like other decks playing annoying monsters like Dragoons themselves and whatnot. So I have had a match with Brandon and it came up. Ebon High, it's a rank 7. It's that you use traps from the hand. Only all our traps we could just set. I did want to play Karma Cannon because of it, but I realised that was too much coping. Early, I guess it makes something an interruption. Only you need link arrows first. So we like that. Or if we have dark, like that. It comes up very rarely. I think out of 10 games it came up once. And it didn't help. It came up once because it's a fire. And this, I don't know. I just needed to fill space. Yeah. That's the list. I hope you all enjoyed. Do that, do the YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, thank you Loza for roasting this deck list. Till the next time, cheerio. I think
a lot of the dilemmas in this profile just come from lack of access to cards, which like we can't really do anything about that. I think you know what you want to change in the list, and that's super good. You know what you'd rather be playing. So that's great. A lot of people who upload a profile similar to this would be like, this is a good Dark Magician deck, guys. This is what I play. And they'll get a little bit sad when you tell them it's not good, so. And look, the deck is expensive. Let's be real. It's Dark Magician. It's expensive for no reason. But how not great it is, it's a bit too expensive. But, oh well. Pardon me. Profile, not bad. Not bad. Considering the lack of access to cards, yeah. Decent. But don't worry, we'll get new support soon anyway. Alright. I'm pulling this video up on my main channel to like and subscribe. Big. Take that. Take that, buddy. Alright, back to Pokeroke. No, I'm kidding. Back to the actual stream. So, that was a cool little detour. Thank you, Zelda.